In silence.
All right, Anne, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am. Except that you're all kind of frozen.
Oh, good. You
there,
were frozen
just got
before.
frozen.
Can you hear us now?
Yep.
All right. Well, let's get this meeting started. I'll pull up our agenda. I'll push the record button. And good evening. It is April 2nd, 2026. It is 6:01. This is the Bluff Planning and Zoning regular meeting. We'll start with a roll call. Malia Collins, Chair.
Brian Whitney.
Caitlin McLennan.
Ann Brown.
And Marcia has an excused absence.
Erin Wilson serving as town manager.
All right, and we don't have anyone in the audience. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll get started with approval of meeting minutes from March 5th, 2026, regular session. I'll share those. There's a lot of things open, so bear with me. All right. I just looked through these before the meeting and I didn't see any notes from anyone else. Did anyone have anything that they wrote down but didn't put in the document? I would support a motion.
I will motion to approve these minutes as they stand. Is it written on it?
I second it.
Fabulous. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. March 19th, I did have a couple of edits on, so I'll pull those up. Thank you, Erin, our fearless note taker.
Thank you all.
No problem. I did a couple of grammatical changes. I changed the heading from regular meeting to work session.
Well, thank you.
And in number 3, it said Malia Collins and Caitlin McLennan were working on the section and I changed it to Marcia. And then the next line said Haydenfeld will email will report back, and I changed it to Collins will email the attorney and report back.
Nice. I don't know how those go, so good.
It's all right.
Thanks for the catch.
Our names both start with M.
We'll go with that.
Anyone else?
But I would, motion to approve the minutes, the changes that we outlined.
I second the motion to approve the minutes with the changes that went down.
That's good work, everyone. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And it looks like you are muted. Aye.
Aye.
Fabulous. Thank you. Thank you. Motion passes unanimously. Good work, team. Moving right along. Public comment. Up to 3 minutes per comment. We don't have anyone in the room here. We don't have anyone else online, but do any commissioners have a public comment or town staff?
Gotta start running turnout. We do it.
Business. We're doing business.
Business.
All right, gonna close public comment. Moving on to old business, update from town council. I will quickly say that town council has not had a meeting since our last meeting because there were 5 Tuesdays in March. And so because we met that 3rd week of March, they've had the last 2 weeks off. And so we're kicking off the town meetings for the month of April. Erin, do you have anything from town council?
Probably just a few reminders. So there are 2 public hearings on Tuesday, April 7th. The one is the proposed budget amendment for this fiscal year. The second would be the master fee schedule proposed amendments. And then, yeah, as Malia stated, the town council has not met. Their next regular meeting is that same day. they'll take public comments for 10 days after the public hearings. But they will be discussing both of those items, the budget and the master fee schedule during the work session as well. So they'll take comments, reflect on those and make any additional changes. And the hope would be that we can have some of those modified and approved by mid to late April. I don't have anything else necessarily for town council at this time, but I do have some updates from the building department whenever you're ready to move on to number 2, unless there are questions about town council.
No questions that I have. Anne, do you have any questions about Aaron's update from town council? She's shaking her head no. Okay. Number 2, update from building department.
So it has been a tumultuous week in the building department. Corey Coleman resigned as the building official effective on Friday, last Friday. We have, as of today, secured a temporary emergency contract with Landing City to provide building inspector services while we attempt to fill that part-time position. So huge thanks to Pratt and Taylor for working with me to kind of get that moving. We do have that open position right now. I have it listed for 10 days, so applications are due by Sunday, April 12th at 5 p.m. And it's just submitting a resume to me via my email address. All of that is posted on our website. And then our goal is to be able to obtain a new part-time building official, similar to what Corey was doing. Our biggest requirement is that the state of Utah has the building official regulations kind of going into effect I think it's May 1st, which means that they have to have like quite a lot of additional training and qualifications. And so we are putting it out there like, hey, these are the requirements, but someone could also obtain those certifications within 90 days of hire, and we could help move towards that. So if someone's interested, they can talk to me and we can do the interviews to work through that. But with that said, building permits are still, everything is business as normal. People still need to get building permits if they're doing work or renovations on their property. And Kristen Bushnell is still with us as our wonderful permit technician to answer questions. So even in the interim, please make sure that you are going through the building permitting process as usual. Any questions about that?
Amazing work. Sorry that has been part of your last week, and thank you for securing a temporary.
I feel like the bags under my eyes are slightly worse this week than usual, and we can put it on that agenda. Yeah, that's the update, but yeah, thank you to everyone. I've got a great team getting this all pulled together, so very excited that Landing was able to help support. And yeah, we'll be in good shape moving forward. So feel very confident that we'll be okay. So.
Yeah, thank goodness for the relationship building with our fellow municipalities in the county.
Absolutely,
We're
yeah.
leaning on them, and
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
So anyway, if anyone has any questions about that, let us know. And like I said, building permit process is as usual. This is not an
Still
excuse
stands.
to not get a permit. So cool. All right, thanks everyone.
Oh, thank you. Regarding the update from the building department, Kristen also shared the building department update via Adobe spreadsheet. And so I have that pulled up and is being shared now, and it's just her color coded action items up to date and completed. I did ask her if she is planning on attending the meetings, and she said she is not going to attend these meetings for updates unless something changes, job description and things. So if we have questions for Kristen at this point, my understanding is that she just wants us to email her so that she can answer those at that time.
This might be a point of discussion for our agenda item that's around our updates to the review. But Marcia and I did talk about how useful it might be to have KP at one of our meetings
Yeah.
eventually.
Okay.
To do specifically that like ordinance review work where we have some questions, mostly, should I talk about this now? Should I wait?
We're already
Madam
talking
Chair,
about it.
I'm already doing it. Mostly around like okay, if we do want to take this out of town code, like what's Katie's capacity, what's
Mhm.
building department's capacity, is that something that she's okay with? Right, and just like having that conversation in a work session maybe
Yeah,
would be useful after we've all gotten enough of it under our belts to
yeah.
make it productive for her too.
Yeah, that might be something to chat with her about a month, that maybe she feels like the building permits could be slower.
Right.
When maybe she would have a little bit additional time to spend with us on
Yeah.
a 90-minute work session. Cool. That's awesome. Thanks for already getting started on your homework. How exciting.
Such a fun date.
Number 3, land use clearance approval, none, so in that public hearing, we are actually removing the land use clearance from the master fee schedule, so as of May, can we remove that from our agenda, you think?
I would say so unless we have any other major changes.
Yeah.
And then I have it slated for the April 7th meeting to, for the council to, I don't even know what you call it. My brain is fried. But essentially remove the land use clearance process.
Yeah,
Or land, revoke.
Revoke,
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that, the land use clearance
Yeah.
ordinance that we have. So yes, I would not expect to see that on,
Cool.
starting in May, but I will keep you posted.
okay, that might also be part of our zoning change. Is that we need to remove it because it's also in our zone, the land use, is it? Or it's in the building code?
I
We'll
think
look
it,
at it.
yeah, I think it talks about it in a couple different
Yeah.
spaces. The most pertinent would be the land use clearance ordinance, which was a standalone ordinance. So if we remove that, then we'll be
Right.
able to remove it from the fee schedule officially. And then we can default to the building department, but we probably, I know when you were talking like zoning code updates, we want to make sure that that meshes with the building code ordinance. And just make sure that those processes are very apparent for all of us and residents included.
For sure. Okay, anyone have a land use clearance? Number 4, update from commissioners on the zoning code revisions. So Caitlin has gotten started. Do you want to continue on with yours? Anything else that you guys?
Yes. We had a couple of things. Marcia's a well of information, so huge shout out to Marcia for attending like the Utah League of Cities and Towns land use training 3 times, she told me. Shocking and incredible. And she takes comprehensive notes. And so she did send me with a message that is, it's coming. She was like,
What's it going?
what we're doing right now, revising the ordinance, is a good thing. She wanted me to make sure to relay that information because there were a couple of different bills that are asking planning and zoning commissions to streamline their zoning code and their, the ordinance and all that stuff, make it shorter, make it easier for people to come in. And so we found a couple of different things that I've started to leave comments on in a file that is not in the shared file, and I need to figure out how to move it.
We'll talk about that.
Use of computers, but we left some comments in there, and then we've got like little individual homework assignments around like, does this make sense? Does this make sense? Can we cut this whole section or not? The other thing was that a bunch of what happened in like land use regulation at the state level wasn't in the LEMA code. So we have to like go and make sure we're dotting our i's and crossing our t's with our changes there. But it's really all about that like simplification of language process.
Cool.
And I think that is pretty much it.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you for your work.
Ann and I tried to get together several times and had failed due to life getting in the way, but we're gonna meet tomorrow and start in on it. I did look a little bit at just the different, the red lines that Kristen had given us, plus then just looking at some different. I always like to look at other municipalities that are similar to us that do see what they're doing in terms of theirs, particularly looking at the zones themselves. And I found a couple of other quick examples of just some, simpler systems for sure. I don't know the full implications of what it would mean to simplify your zone so much. Like Torrey, Utah has one that is just like mixed use, and then Yeah, there's like ag residential and then it's just, there's two.
Oh, no. We were
There's only
talking
two.
about
Yeah,
like,
Like some places are very, very streamlined and then you wait, it's like, I didn't see
Mhm.
maybe.
you don't want a pig farm next to your house.
No. No, I know, cause those mixed use like residential zones are just like anything goes. Which is like, oh,
I mean, I feel like that has a time and place. That does make me remember one of the things we did talk about where, and it kind of ties into that, like, what's Kristen's capacity and building
Mhm.
department conversation, but defining things that go through the planning and zoning commission by use rather than by like type of structure, I think is what we have it as now. And so it could be like all industrial uses
right,
come here. Or like all utility scale energy development, right? Or like, you know, larger multifamily building. And I think those are in the notes of the document that's not shared,
Right.
that I'll figure out, but it's like. We'll have to make sure that that's tied to the uses that we define in our code, but I feel like adds that protection for multifamily zoning. Where, or multi-mixed use zoning, where you're
Yeah.
like, there's mixed use within this kind of use, but you can't have your pig farm. In the middle of downtown Bluff.
yeah. Well, we don't have to also go as far as to only have two.
Yeah.
Zones.
3.
Three, I mean, you could, there is probably a system in which 3 or 4 might work. Where
Yeah.
you could actually create those buffers away from it without, with still having it be mostly,
Mhm.
you know. Basically like a one space that, one space, one zone that is restrictive and one zone that is. More built to promote, but then you can maybe, you know, a third zone, it slices some things out in the middle, let's say no pig farm zones.
I'm like, the pig Bobby's gonna
Yeah.
go for us now. But no, I think you're right. I feel like we don't, and we can use like 1, 2, and 3 system, like, which we already do,
Yeah, we do,
but in a,
but some of it's. Yeah, I mean, I do see what you're saying, there are a lot of things that are like very specific. There's kind of a mixture of like specific. Structures and general uses within it, so maybe choosing a theme of either like.
yeah,
Uses or, yeah, so maybe eliminating some of the specific buildings and just. And take out some of the wordiness.
Mhm.
Yeah, use is an interesting way to think about it. I like that. I'd like to explore that.
I did the same thing you did, Brian. I looked at somebody else's and I tried to
Yeah,
find like a
right.
similarly sized, well, that's hard, but I tried to find a smaller community with like less, you know, density already and like kind of outside of the beaten path or whatever.
Yeah,
But that's what they did. And I was like, that makes sense.
Totally.
yeah. I was listening to the CIB board meeting today, which is a whole different conversation, but there was a town of Altamont, which said that their population is 250. So that might be somebody to reference.
Altamont,
Altamont,
Utah?
Utah.
there's a lot of towns in Utah. Altamont, Utah, just
Is that right? Is that
tiny
the town?
town,
That'd be shame.
239 people.
Yeah, so they might be an interesting one to look into, but their ordinances.
I wonder if they're fun.
Do they have ordinances? Altamont town, oh, they have a town. Yeah,
There's
actually,
that one.
it's quite beautiful, of course it is.
Oh my gosh.
It is Utah.
Yes, I know. See,
Yeah, so just another one that we could look into.
Oh, that's so fun.
Government.
Yeah.
Ordinances, copy, paste.
And do you have anything to add on the zoning code revisions?
There goes zoning.
Not really, because Brian has been the king of getting us started, but we have had many things that have come up. But I did actually look at the town I used to live in, Rockville, near Zion, and which has 297 people. And you know, I think part of the issues which make us so unique is we have a lot of undeveloped land, specifically out here. But one of the things that I've noticed, because I was just in Rockville a few weeks ago, is and it's a bedroom community, has no commercial zoning. It's a bedroom community to Springdale. but what I've noticed is much of the farmland is being cut up for residential. And that's, that to me is a bit of concern when you look at how we are, how big we are town-wise. We have a much bigger plot of town, and it is mostly agricultural land. So it's just something that is a huge concern to me, is what happens when those people who own that land realize that, and I don't see it in my lifetime, but in you all, is that a word? You all young people in your time here could definitely happen where they get, they realize that maybe their land is worth more to be developed than grazed on.
Yeah, that brings up a good point about that agriculture land, is that a lot of it is federally owned land. So quite a bit of that agriculture land is BLM or SITLA, which we can't necessarily, from my understanding, we can't necessarily really tell them what to do with it. And so that would be something to take into consideration as we're looking through those zones for sure.
Right, yeah.
Is what exactly is
Right.
that, and
Right.
what can we say can be done with it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. My update from the zoning code revision is that I emailed our attorney and have not heard back. I had a couple of things out to him and just heard back from him on one thing. It was yesterday, but
Progress.
he's busy, so I'll send an inbox bump on our questions about our revisions, and hopefully we'll have those in time for our work session.
Nice.
Any other thoughts on number 4? Next steps, anything I can help with? Anything fellow commissioners can help with?
Could we maybe take a moment just to review the notes together and remind ourselves of our exact assignments?
For sure. Yeah, pull those up.
So I write it down on the same notepad.
That's fair.
So
Nice.
section assignments were as follows. Whitney and Brown will review sections 6.01060 through 6.01130, covering all zoning districts, including lot sizes, setbacks, and zone requirements. Haydenfeld and McLennan will review section 6.40.030, covering review processes, site plan review, and exhibitions.
Beautiful. Thank you.
I hope I got those sections right.
I bet you did. That sounds right.
Nailed
We'll see.
We may not have really spelled it out very well either, so.
I did not cross-reference, my apologies.
It's all good. That's why we said the sections as well as the titles, in case we got one of them wrong. Whoa. All right, anything else on number 4?
Nope. I think we're doing well. I wonder if also at our next work session, we talk maybe explicitly about like what our goals are for our ordinance revision, because I think Marcia and I started with that, where we were like, okay, this is what the state code is saying, this is what we think about this, and like we can share more about like that and maybe align around, okay, are we cutting? Are we streamlining as much as possible? Are we defining as much as possible, right?
Yep. Great idea.
Yeah. So things I think about between now and then. I like that. That's a great idea. Number 5, update on the change of use discussion. So last week in our other, it was brought up that a residential lot is being used, it has been an education facility, is continuing to be used as that, and has some additional programming that's been hosted on it. I reviewed our emails with the Bluff workshop as they were transitioning to that from May of last year. And I believe I forwarded that email to everyone. Did you
Yeah.
guys? Okay, I forwarded that email to everyone. And then also reached back out to them and have sent them that zone amendment request and let them know that when it is returned, we will put them on the agenda and go from there. What you think,
I
Brad?
will nudge them along, because again, for full discretion, I'm married to the one that I have you emailed. Yeah, they have received it, and I think their plan, I mean, from my brief conversation with them, I think their plan is to fill it out and submit it, and I think it's a great idea. So,
It's a full-
sounds like, I don't know what the full process is, but you guys talk it out and they're gonna.
Yes. I can pull up the form if you wanna see it.
Try it was fine before.
Change of use application. And can you see my screen? Can you see that change of use? Okay.
And I read I read all the emails back and forth.
Oh, fabulous.
Why did it take so long if they submitted this last May?
They submitted an inquiry email saying, do you recommend we do anything? And we responded with this application and that's just where it died. And so last meeting, it was brought back up and then I did a quick search through our emails and found it and then inbox bumped it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean. Sounds perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we'll.
What are-
This and then we'll review it at a meeting,
Yeah.
and make that.
What kind of fees are associated with something like this?
Well, fun fact, currently they are set. I think at $500. Master fee schedule. Zoning. Change, so, a zoning map amendment application is 500, a zoning text amendment application is 500. I will say this is on the master fee schedule proposed change though. Because when we do make those changes, it's pretty involved with like. Getting everything technically, I mean, it's a lot.
Yeah.
So I will note that. That new fee has not been adopted yet. After the public hearing, that new fee might increase.
Oh.
But currently it's $500. And the proposal is for it to increase. So if anyone's looking at that schedule and needs to make any applications for anything, I would go ahead and get those in. as soon as possible.
What is the technical question there, if it's submitted before the fee is changed? Would it be processed at the old schedule? But if
That's-
it is submitted after it is voted on and changed and put into action, it will be on the new schedule.
Correct.
Okay. Just to make sure, so even if it's not finished being processed prior to. Correct. That's what, okay. Well, I hope the right people are listening, that one of us can go home and tell them, no, I'm just kidding, they are on their, whatever timeline they're on their own. They're on their own.
Have we ever done a change of use? Has anyone, have we done? Okay, so this would be a first time.
It is a first
Does it
time.
involve a public hearing?
Yes, so change.
Must, right?
Yeah, so change to the map or change to the text,
Right.
does require a public hearing because it is land
Wow.
use. I would also wanna note too, that like clearly we're having a public hearing on the master fee schedule, so if people have really strong thoughts on us increasing the prices, they can do that. My
Sure.
reasoning to the council is like, these are very involved processes that involve like a lot of legal review, a lot of our time, a lot of my time. But
It's normal.
yes, and yes, it will require a public hearing. Probably it could also. There could probably be the case of, if you guys are already looking at changing the zoning code, is there anything within your proposed changes that would already cover? Like, if you're talking about completely changing the zones. Now, I would say that like, if the application is going in, hey, we wanna change the use, you're gonna pay the fee. But if it came back that within a certain amount of time, you guys are, the planning and zoning and town council is gonna be changing all of this anyway, there could be the case that like this was naturally gonna occur and we could work on the fees paid. All that to say they should still get an application in if they're very serious about
Yeah,
that done, so.
Oh, that's a great point.
well, it is, you know, from a. I think from my perspective, it certainly does make sense that that section would be not residential. So,
Are we giving them the option to choose C2 or C3?
Yes, yeah, so in my email, I said, I explained C1, I pulled up my email that I sent.
Mhm.
Hmm.
I may have overheard that they were planning on. Applying a C3,
Just include.
just to include
everything.
everything, but. I mean, certainly not, I think it's more out of just trying to, the desire to catch the property up to its. Historic uses rather than it is about creating new uses.
Going to pull this up so that Anne can also see it.
Excellent.
It's from Kate.
Who's
Who's
this
that?
person?
How do you pronounce her name?
So I said the allowed uses stack on one another as they progress through commercial zones. Allowed uses that apply in my mind are organized by zone. C1, RV parks, residential dwellings, accessory dwellings, and short-term rentals. C2, schools or vocational training facilities, and then within C3, building material supply, wholesale or retail. Just based on what I understand the programming that is occurring there. And so next sentence, since you know your organization and goals best, we'll let you decide what you wanna.
Yeah, I mean, they're not really doing, I mean, they're not running a business for building supplies, they're built up shade structure, just trade used. Things, but it would certainly cover them from the perspective of the. I mean, they're certainly C2, let
Yeah.
alone the fact that they have so much construction product there and they have the shop, and I mean, it makes total sense that they would just do 3.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah. and so
Was
that can be-
this- I'm sorry to be ignorant, but I've read this stuff and it makes no sense to me. In terms of it always being a school, and is this predominantly because of this trading of tools and materials or lending of, or whatever the case may be? Is that what this is all about predominantly?
Well, I think it's a complex discussion because when it was first zoned, when none of us were on planning and zoning. When it was first zoned, it was zoned as residential, but it was already a school.
Yeah.
And so,
It was a bit, I thought, who knows, I wasn't there higher.
yeah, I also wasn't there, so.
I bet people just thought, oh, it's a collection of structures people live in. You know, maybe.
I mean, it was
think
already,
the
running as a.
I mean, I wonder if it's because of like,
Anchor.
you want complementary uses next to each other and you don't want a donut of residential around a commercial parcel. Cause it tends to like create like pig farm problems. But I feel like, Twin Rocks is there, so there is an argument to be made that like maybe we test out our mixed use code in this specific area because you've got a little bit of commercial and a little bit of residential and a little bit of
Yeah.
vocational training all happening at the same time.
Those,
I was just gonna note, it is really interesting because there's actually a C3 parcel directly across the street from the parcel that we're talking about. You can definitely go back, I mean, I imagine that there were quite a lot of discussions as to why they zoned what they did.
Yeah.
But I would also say that like, we're not just talking this particular parcel, we've
Right.
got the credit union
Right,
that's
right,
there
yeah,
as well. We've got like
Yeah.
things kind of all along that street. But I do think that Caitlin brings up a good point of like, they were, we do try to group like with like.
Right.
It's very difficult though, and we've called this out multiple times. It's difficult when town is only 2 to 3 blocks wide.
Right.
On each side of the highway, like that's
Yeah.
very difficult to keep zones together, and so. I would expand the discussion into, you know, yeah, do you minimize the
Yeah.
number of zones?
Well, that's
Make it
the,
a little bit more flexible.
the Tory argument was that the historic downtowns of these small communities like this, these western communities are actually quite difficult to zone, like with the complex overlay, because they are such mixed use of residential, and because they are just like, you know,
Existing.
they all existed and it's
Yeah.
all old and it's all green, and so. Not to say that we should just say like mixed use, you can put your pig farm next to that, but I do think that there, like you're saying, there's some way of teasing it out where there is sort of a more variable. I mean, yeah, because there's so much commercial stuff right there.
Right.
We also do have like additional language to use, like we technically have like a factory industrial zone.
Right.
In the zoning code, we don't have a spot for it on that
Right.
currently, but I think factory industrial is a very different commercial enterprise.
Yeah.
Than what we've been seeing as, and I do think that like there's of course a difference between really high traffic areas.
Yeah.
You could think of it that way, like
Right.
C3 equals high traffic versus
Yeah.
residential and smaller businesses equal low traffic.
Mhm.
And what we would allow in those would be very different.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head that, you know, we already have these things throughout Bluff. And you've got to be strategic in how you do it, but make it fair for everyone. So, but yeah, you've got multiple properties on that same stretch that kind of
Yeah.
blend
Right.
currently.
Yeah.
I also
They're
wonder-
not, I'm sorry, but excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt, Brian, but but they're only asking for the property that I think of as the design build property. It goes from the historic home on one corner around the whole bend and up to Hiroko and Atushi's house. Is that correct? Or because when you mention the credit union and Twin Rocks and blah, 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 that to me obviously has nothing to do with design build property. And so are they just asking for the zoning specific to that property that I just spoke of?
Yes. All that they can ask for a zoning code on is their property. But
Right.
what we're discussing are the other commercial properties that are also located on the old highway, which is what that road essentially is, which is, I think, where a lot of the discussion when they were creating the zones and the assignments for the zones came in, because that is the old highway, and that is why there's so much commercial development on it, because that was the road that went through town until 191 was built. And so it could be that in this new iteration of the zoning code, we determine that maybe that old highway is back to the main street, the downtown area. According to our strategic plan, it has been discussed. And so, you know, when we were first incorporated, we had one idea, and now as people are moving to town and as ideas change and as we continue to grow and do more planning, we're realizing that, okay, there's some things that we need to edit. And that's kind of where we're sitting now. Because at this point, we are 8 years in to this current zoning map.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just glad you brought up also strategic plan. Cause I was also just thinking about how the zoning of these roads. And particularly the road that we were just highlighting because of. The inquiry as being. Part of that conversation of just like how to develop certain. You know. For lack of better terms, like the downtown strip or whatever, whatever phrase people use to describe that.
What is?
Like, how do we zone so that we're in line with what those goals are too?
Right.
What is the C3 parcel that's right adjacent to Design No Bluff?
La Posada Pintata.
Oh. Interesting.
So I also would say that their original inquiry was also born out because they were thinking about renting. So there was that original question about short-term rentals, and they
Right.
were wondering whether that. If what they were doing was gonna count as short-term rentals, that's also why, I think someone, Anna asked before why it got dropped. Part of the reason they dropped was because they realized they didn't need to do short-term rentals.
Oh, cool.
For what they were doing, or they wasn't it wasn't something that was gonna happen right away, so they wasn't timely, but I
Yeah.
think now. Having it brought back up, they're interested in it again, so.
Yeah. I think that part of our discussion of goals for this ordinance revision should include with the zoning portion, are we also going to be changing zones, like on our map and our, you know, instead of, I mean, obviously, if we are changing the type of changing zones to have less of a certain kind or whatever, but also, is this a chance for people to come back and say, I'd like to have my zone changed? Cause that could be opening quite a can of worms, but also potentially a good
Well, there's
service.
a process for someone to do that.
Yeah,
I mean, and there's also public comment, which people are
right,
allowed to give those comments, so there is due process for everybody to get those in.
yeah,
So in the same way that, you know, these guys are applying to do it, you know, have the application to actually do the change. There, if we do this and we present any changes, there will certainly be ample opportunity for people to give us feedback.
yeah, cause this will also require the zoning code
Yeah,
revisions, will
exactly,
require
yeah,
the public
any of it's
hearing.
gonna require them all having input, so I'm sure we'll hear. What people have to say with a change like that, if they're.
Oh my gosh, every time we start working on this, I realize how huge this project is.
Well, I think Keelan and Marsh's point of our work session. I think starting with finding some guiding. Like some guiding principles, some
Yeah.
guardian angels, some bumpers, some bowling bumpers, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Just some guardrails to keep us from like
Guardrails.
just spinning around being
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
oh, zoning,
Mhm.
so. I think that's a great. Once again, to do that. Excellent stuff.
figure out
Alright.
what our North Star is.
Yes.
Our North Star, oh, it's beautiful.
And you might notice that where I live isn't even on our map.
I think you have to go to West Bluff map.
Let me pull up our West
You
Bluff
better.
map. Are
You
you not
better be.
included on the West Bluff map?
Really? Are they really not on it yet?
No.
I know, yeah.
It just,
The parcels may not
the
be,
parcels are there.
Yeah,
yeah, you're there. Here, I'll pull up the West Bluff. I was just showing the east side.
yeah, she just didn't include you because she lives on the east side.
Ah,
I'm just kidding. I'm more on the east side. Exactly. Soon there'll be sharks and jets and this. They'll be dancing and snapping and stabbing.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Here's your neighborhood, Ann.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You
We
are-
always feel rather left out, you know.
Oh.
Oh, so
We-
sorry.
I'm kidding. We like being isolated out here.
Alright,
Awesome.
so that sounds.
4 and number 5 have kind of meshed together because
Yeah,
that's
I
what
mean, it was
planning and
interesting
zoning is.
food for thought though, but. I
Yeah.
think- So we just go. Keep working and then. Rehash it for the. Work sesh.
Yes, let me pull our agenda back up. Where did you go? There you go. No, those are minutes. So this leads us into, I believe, what number 5 is items for next agenda. So how do we want this work session to look? So of course, bring back any additional conversations that are had. In your one-on-ones, I'll bring back the conversations with Chris. And then we might have more discussion on that zone amendment. We'll
Yes.
talk about our goals
Is
to
there
help
any-
guide.
We wanted to spend, I think it'd be great to spend the whole time on this.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have anything else pressing that we need to really. So with that being said, yeah, I think what if we start with goals? And then move into more specifics,
yeah,
because goals could take us the whole time along,
they
Yeah.
really could.
which would be fine, because it's not an immediate process,
Right.
so. Cool. Any other items that people wanna talk about at all? For next meeting, for work session, or just keep it really focused?
I think it's nice to have it focused so that
Beautiful,
we can work through it.
cool.
I've totally lost the agenda, but
I can
Oh,
say
here.
number 7 is others. Do we have any others?
yes, the Utah League of Cities and Towns training in Monticello is April 13th. If anyone plans to attend, we can carpool. We don't know if we're allowed to carpool.
We,
Yeah, you just can't talk about,
We
you
just
just
have to talk
can't
about
be,
Harley.
yeah.
We can only talk about Harley.
I've gotten RSVPs from most everyone. But yeah, carpooling is fine
7th,
and.
5:30?
7th, right?
Oh, 13th.
The 13th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
It's Monday
sorry.
the 13th and it's dark.
Sorry. Well, I'm gonna RSVP and say no right now, because we're gonna be on the river.
He is out.
Kate's class, it's the river trip
Aw.
for the class.
Jeez.
Last 2 days of the class, and then the children will go away.
Yes.
And my life will go back to normal.
With that confirmation, 4 of the planning and zoning commissioners are planning to attend.
Yes.
Myself, Mayor Ewing, and I'm still waiting to hear from the other council members. I have a training for next morning in Moab, so I will not be carpooling with you all, but once I get the other town council members, I'll put all of you guys, or I'll coordinate who wants to drive, and then we can,
We'll get a van.
get a van, we'll figure something out.
He's gonna be so fun.
I will be glad to drive. I just bought a new car last weekend and it's a hybrid. And I'm so excited because I drove from Mexican Water to Bluff, to Cortez, to Dove Creek, back through Monticello on a little more than a quarter tank of gas.
Wow.
What kind of car is it?
RAV4 hybrid.
Wow.
Is it a plug-in hybrid, Ann?
No, they didn't have any, and this only had 15,000 miles on it, so.
Oh,
Dude,
Nice.
living it up.
So,
Wow. Bill love.
except I don't have my Forerunner anymore, and I've had Forerunners since my 40-year-old daughter was born, so. Kind of bummed, but Rusty seems to think I might be a better, safer driver now that I can't just tool off the road anywhere I damn well please.
All right, any others?
No, but I would motion to adjourn this meeting.
Fabulous, 6:48.
I second that
Is
motion.
over.
Yes, thank you all. I will see you tomorrow, Brian.